Good afternoon, Smith Memorial. Hope all of you are doing well today on this Monday. Hope that you are beginning your week in a good way. Hope that you're beginning your week with hopefully some good news and some exciting things happening, some good things to look forward to. I wanted to film this devotional, this Words for the Week Ahead moment, here in the fellowship hall. This place is a testament in many ways to what Smith Memorial is and will continue to be. It's a place where you all, before I came here, you all gathered and spent time, socialized with one another, laughed, ate, had fun, shared life together. It's also a place where, before I came in, since I have been here, an incredible amount of service has been done. Service to the needy in this community, specifically to the hungry in this community, through projects like the community meal. And you can see the boxes and the goods and just all the different things that have gone into that ministry represented behind me. As you all know, I've only been here for a few months, about 8 months now, but I have come to see that service is really near to our heart here. It's really near to the heart of this church. Y'all care about the people of your community. You care about each other. You want the world to be a better place. You believe that loving God and loving your neighbor are one and the same thing. You can't do one without the other. I consider myself very blessed to be the pastor of such a church. And it's for that reason that I wanted to be down here today as I film this devotional and as I talk with you about what to expect in the coming days. We are, as many of you know already, returning to in-person worship. We'll be doing that on Easter Sunday at 11 o'clock. And that service is going to look different than what many of you have come to expect here at Smith Memorial. To begin with, we will be outside. We will also be enforcing a lot of requirements with regard to COVID because we are not out of the woods yet with this disease. We're going to all need to be wearing these. I've got double masks. We're going to need to social distance, and we're all going to need to do that of all ages. There are other requirements that you'll be aware of, that you'll be made aware of, but those are the big ones. Wear masks, social distance, and that applies to everybody. That sounds like an inhibition, a limitation. Not an inhibition, but a limitation. That sounds like restriction. It sounds like tightness. It sounds like control. I get that. I am very much eager to leave behind the days of mask wearing, the days of worrying about hugging people, the days of worrying about being close to people. I don't know yet when that day will come, but I understand and sympathize with and empathize with your frustration and your fatigue and your desire to return to normal. But I also want to challenge you. I want to challenge you because even though many of us are vaccinated, even though many of us have protections, even though many of us live safe lives, there are many in our community who are not so fortunate. There are many in our community as of yet who have not been vaccinated and who can still suffer terribly should they contract COVID. Vaccines do not prevent, as far as we know, the spread of COVID. We don't know for certain whether they do or not. And so, until we know for certain, we can still pass on disease to others. Conversely, by wearing our masks, by social distancing, by going above and beyond what might even seem natural or necessary, we can be leaders in this community. We can be people who say day in and day out, I love my neighbor enough, not just to feed them, which is incredible, but also to not do certain things that might put them in danger. Every time you wear a mask, every time you do something in public, and you you do it in a COVID-safe way. Friends, that is an act of faith. That is an act of faith saying that the safety of your neighbor is more important than your comfort in the moment. And that is the spirit with which we will be returning to worship. Safety of our neighbors, vaccinated and unvaccinated, old and young, both members here and visitors, and people who may not even come into contact with this church. All those people deserve our love, our affection, and our care. So as we talk about returning to worship, as we talk about being together again for the first time in a year, I want to invite you to put on the service of spirit and wear that around the way that so many of us have for so many years. That service of spirit, it brings life, it gives life to so many of the things that you all have done and continue to do here. Things like this community meal, which has been such a light for so many families, so many people in this area. You can wear that service of spirit when you put on your mask. You can wear that service of spirit when you stay distanced from people who you want to hug. You can wear that service of spirit when you take these requirements seriously and when you ask other people to do the same. And you can do that while worshiping God. You can worship God and love your neighbor right out there on Easter Sunday at 11 o'clock when we gather for the first time in over a year. I challenge you with that. I leave you with that. Believing that the heart of service, the love for service, the love for neighbor that animates this church, that gives life to this church, that is at the beating heart of this church, will continue to be there and will find new ways to express itself, especially in these unprecedented times in which we remain.